Hey team, how's it going? Thanks for the update. Thanks for the feedback and this great new set of sites that I'm looking at. I think we're right on point. Really, really good. And as I was listening to Paul kind of going through them, I definitely think I like most of them than not. So that's a great sign. The first two sites I thought were great. So right off the bat, I like how things just get out of your way, right? Like if our whole strategy around the words that we're putting on the page is like more brand focused than conversion focused, as we talked about, things like be the story have to have so much more weight than if it was like, you know, you've been burned, come and find a B2B tech PR agency that moves before you ask. You know, something like that where it's it's one of those things where you've got five words on a page and it really feels like as soon as you land here, you're an immediate acknowledgement of what they do. And this is a cool animation. I like how it slides out of the way. And then I like how you're kind of going into another section where they're not throwing a bunch of numbers at you. They started with something super simple. And of course, it kind of teases the mind of like, what's a little bit more going on here? And then they share a little bit more. I think this is a great site. Like for me personally, I think it's very like IT focused, you know, in terms of the typography and like the square boxes. But I think it's beautiful. It's a really good site. And again, the fact that they've used symmetry so well here, I do like it. And I love these, whatever you want to call them. Are these icons? I mean, they kind of look like icons, but they're pretty big. But they're cool and they're different and they definitely don't feel like just some templated thing. So in general, I think this site is just excellent across the board. Nothing negative to say. I like these cool little animations here. So yeah, that's number one. Number two, I also really like this site as well. Again, I think it's very similar to the first site. They're going with just like a few words up top to really help those words stand out. And then this is a beautiful image, whatever orb circle thing. But again, the play of the gradient against the white, it's super clean and minimal. It looks really good, really good. And yeah, it just kind of makes you want to scroll. And this is super cool too. Like I love that this kind of comes into frame and then the words are being read to you as you scroll down. And again, I like this so much because it just doesn't confuse, like you're not confused by what they're doing here. And it almost like it's just putting an exclamation point on everything they say because there's not extra stuff happening in the corners and there's not like a three list here and just a whole bunch of stuff crammed together. They're giving things the appropriate amount of space to help them land with the user. And again, this is all good too. I mean, I agree with you, Paul. There's no iconography here, but it still works because they almost use the contrast between the typography to kind of be the iconography. This is cool. I also agree, like I'm a fan of rounded corners. I don't care for images that have just square with no curvature at all. I think that looks pretty dated. So yeah, this looks good. Again, all of this is good. They're not overwhelming people with like, you know, text and then like more text and then some more text. Maybe a missed opportunity. You couldn't interact with this thing and swirl it around, but who cares? It still looks good as you scroll through it. So, yeah, like in general, I think all this is good. Can you interact with this? No. But again, like, oh, did I do that or did this do that? Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, they just have some really nice animations to this. I mean, this is solid. So yeah, you get into this, and at first I was like, okay, it's just like a normal logo scroller thing. But then as you start to see, oh no, actually it zooms out as you scroll down, and then it goes back to zooming in, and really clean. Oh, and then it goes dark. This is nice. Yeah, this is cool. Um, just good. No notes. Love the site. Love, love, love. Really good. Okay. Uh, so okay, I'll say what I like and what I don't like. I don't like. Well, first I'll say what I like. I agree with you. The gradients are cool, and I'm on board with gradients. I like gradients. I agree there could be a design element to the site. I mean, even if you look at our own site, I mean, it's got gradients going on, right? And I think gradients are cool. We have the gradients in the actual typography as well, and then kind of throughout the site as well. So, yeah, I'm already a big fan of gradients. I think so. Let's set aside the gradient thing because I'm on board with that. This site to me feels. I don't love the hero spacing wise, like things not like this being over more than where this text is. There's just like little things like that where that kind of irritates me, but more just that this feels like way too much text versus some of those other sites where it was 5 words. Now you have what, 15, 25 words here. We're not doing that on our site, so I'm not concerned that our site's going to look like that. But if I were to just be, critiquing it, I think it's kind of weird. It feels typography choices and curvature that kind of don't really make sense to me. Like this typography screams to me like a bank or something like a buttoned up financial services company. And then these like ultra rounded buttons scream to me like young, very B2C startup. So they're kind of mixing design philosophies here in a way that I don't think really looks all that good. And then what's the point of this? This is the thing, like the other ones were cool. You would like scroll down and then the orb would expand. Or on the first site, the triangle thing would actually like kind of get bigger and then get smaller. Look at this thing. It just gets big and then it goes away. What the hell is that? I mean, why would you even want to do that? It doesn't add anything. It's just like, oh, do you want to see it in a big mode? There's nothing interesting about that. This to me feels more like a self site. Okay, let's just put 3 big things here. I'm not loving this site. I would go thumbs down on this site. Trying to look for things that I like. I mean, it's all okay. I mean, like none of this stuff is like necessarily technically bad. It's just weird to throw that there instead of right here. And then the quote thing is all the way over here. Not a fan. Okay, so you get that. All right, so next site. Yeah, this is cool. I think like the only thing about this site is that, okay, so one, I like the animation thing. That's cool. The play on the light, it's like it captures your attention immediately. And I like that what they've got going on here is, again, not too much. Okay, so you're not overwhelmed with text like on the last site. And I like that it's just, there's only a few things up here. This curved design language around this much of a curve on a button. I feel like I'm in the right place when I look at their logo and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm in some sort of startup-y, B2B2C, something like that. And the only thing that I'm going to have to critique on this is when an animation like this scrolls behind the typography, it does make it a little bit tricky to read. Like when I'm trying to read this and something is like flowing behind it, it's a little bit awkward. So design choice to put the thing behind the words, I don't love that, but I think this is a cool design, and I think the amount of text they have here is nice. And even if this isn't directly centered, if I were looking at it, it's a little bit left justified. I still think it looks pretty good. So overall, cool, but not perfect. Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that this actually takes you to another page. I thought it was like a drop down. So a little bit confused there that they would want people to just immediately click out to another page after. This is it's strange to me. It's like they have one half a sentence, a second sentence, and then they want you to go into their FAQ. It feels weird, but if I'm just critiquing design wise, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't love it. It's not really a site for me. I think like again, just the amount of spacing that these images have without padding around them, the fact that some things are on two lines instead of one line, the fact that like they're not on the same line or the same plane, it doesn't jive with me. And also just, I'm not a huge fan of squishing a whole bunch of stuff together on a screen like this. It's just, I don't think it looks good. This isn't even a high quality image. It looks blurry. This is hard to read. And so I would say no to this site, thumbs down. Okay, this site. I know you said don't pay attention to this, so I'm not going to. I think in general, here's the thing about like typography like this or using square boxes. I get that this is very infrastructure, IT, coding, developer, and that works for them because that's like, you know, they're trying to tell you, look, we're like a developer shop or whatever. There's just stable coins, whatever. It's all code, right? It's and you can tell that. That's the design language. For us, it's hard to say, hey, let's go in on this like coding design language because while we do have developer companies that we help and they would love this, we also have an AI companies, they would probably love this, but then we also have like IoT, Internet of Things companies, and you know, agriculture companies and construction tech companies, and you know, they SaaS companies, and they don't have this design language, and it just feels like it's going too far towards all in on one type of design language that doesn't appeal to all of my clients. Instead of being like Switzerland, it feels like, okay, this is Germany. And like, if you're not part of Germany, you're not getting in, gonna really like jive with it. I don't know. I'd rather be more accessible to more people, if that makes sense. This isn't really how I would design a site. Like it's hard to honestly not comment on this. It's very distracting on the right. If I were to just pretend it doesn't there, yeah, like having stuff in the center is cool. Like this is not bad, you know, as far as things go. It's not horrible. This is extremely distracting. It's hard to say nice things about it. It's a thumbs down for me. Okay, so then let's move into the next site. Love this site. This is cool too. I agree with you. This is a great site. Things are symmetrical, as you mentioned. There's like little pops of color, a little bit of animations happening. They've got, I would say, this is like probably pushing the limit of how much stuff I would put on one page. This is good. I mean, it's not too much, but we are starting to get to the point where like, you got a lot of things going on here. Not too much, but if you added just one more line, I'd be like, this is too much. So this is like kind of maximum, you know, in terms of how much stuff I want on in a single place. But cool typography, cool animations. It's super clean and minimal up here. It's coming down with me as I'm scrolling down. You've got your logos here. I mean, it's all good. This is really cool. This is a nice animation. You really get a good sense. You're not being overwhelmed with too much stuff. This is pretty. This is cool. Yeah. So again, symmetry, color, but not overwhelming. You know, this is good. And I agree with you. This is a cool way to display the testimonials as well. Big fan of that. Big fan of this. It's like, this is nice. You know, if you're going to do like a black and a white site and then just having these color pops keeps things fresh. So, yeah, thumbs up. I like the site. And then this next site. So let's just talk about the gradient. Yeah, like I told you, I'm a big fan of the gradient. I think this is a cool use of it. Forget the typography, which I don't care for. Forget the square boxes. I don't care for any of this. But just the gradient alone and what's kind of going on here, it's nice. Is it a little bit too much? Do I prefer some of the other sites like the last one we just saw, but also the very first two sites that we shared with like the cube and then also that big orb? I like those more from a design perspective. But if we're just talking about gradients and cool animations and stuff and like where to include this, yeah, this is cool. I like this. I like that it kind of floats away and then you're getting into it. Um, I mean, to me, this is too much. This is like, this is fine and all good. But then when we start to get into a place where we're literally having someone like having to scroll through, and it doesn't even feel smooth to me. It feels chunky, like, because you ever see like a stop motion picture as opposed to a movie, like those flip books where you're like, that's what this feels like to me, as opposed to something that's like 60 frames per second. It's a smooth movie and it's like it's enjoyable. But when everything feels like choppy like this, it does not really go very well. It does not. I don't like that. Um, Again, setting aside the fact that I don't like these squared things, this is not, and also I don't like this squared thing. Let's just set that aside. This is not a bad way to display testimonials, and it's cool they're bringing in the gradient again. Not bad. Again, set aside the squared stuff and how close they are together. It's cool they've created this like interesting gradient thing, and then this thing's kind of like automatically flowing, as opposed to, your sort of standard scrolling thing. They're going vertical with it, and they're going like, what's their most impactful testimonial right here? You could even fly through and have a couple of these rotating, I think, and it'd be even stronger. But yeah, that's a cool way to do it. This is nice. This is really nice. I like this. This is not overwhelming. I like the amount of space. I like the iconography here. This is all very like hand drawn and custom and doesn't feel cheap. This really doesn't apply to me. And yeah, like overall cool. Like I think they've done a decent job on this site. Some things I like, some things I don't like. Yeah, another great site. Thumbs up on this site. Really like this site. I would say this is cool. This is really pretty. I love the amount of spacing, the text size, the typography, color choices. It's all super nice. It's all super nice. Interesting. Yeah, it just takes you right into the work. Cool. Very cool. So like, and then this, yeah, this is cool. I mean, like to your point, Paul, this is an interesting way to kind of almost use as like a separator between sections. I don't think they did the best job they could have in terms of where does something like this fit, but the idea itself is very solid. I just think the execution isn't the best. For example, you're going in with like minimal text and like people are at a very ultra high level and they're like, cool, so this is designed for startups that are launching. The next thing I see probably should just be this thing. Instead, you're asking people to kind of squint a little bit to read this thing, which I think before you try to convince people with word of mouth or testimonials, you first need to explain what is the value proposition that you're even offering here. Okay, you're offering design, but what separates you? Okay, so you're doing it faster and you're doing it clearer. And then maybe you would introduce something like that further down. But again, I think they didn't execute it right because the amount of spacing in between the sections is not enough. It feels crowded here. This all feels like part of one section as opposed to what they were trying to do, which is create a separator between the sections. With some more spacing and padding around some of this stuff, this could be a really great way to do that. Maybe as it's one of those scrolling things where as you scroll down, this thing kind of comes in and it's bigger, and then as you continue to scroll down, it floats back to smaller. Something like that, like interactive, would have been a better way to do that. But yeah, very cool idea. I think this is cool. The sort of transparent gradient, minimalist, doesn't make you think too much and you want to keep scrolling. Some of this stuff, I think, okay, let's talk about what I like. I like the dots matrix thing to kind of create a different section than just pure white. It's nice. It creates its own section. I like that, again, it's all symmetrical. I like that it's just three lined up. I like that everything is on the same line. I like that their text isn't off justified. It's all really, really clean. The image is a bit basic, right? I mean, if we're going to be honest, like, that is a basic ass icon. That is basic. I mean, they just threw numbers up here. I don't know, and just a couple of bar charts. Like, that, it lets it down a little bit to me in like the image choices here. But again, I don't know. Maybe I'm just quibbling. You already know that what I like, so I'm just going to move on. I think this is cool. This is really beautiful. And sorry. Yeah, I think this is all really nice. I think this is a great way to display this stuff, and it's not overwhelming, and it's super clear. This is great, symmetrical, nice. These are better icons, definitely better. Not amazing, but certainly better. Oh my God. Not right now. Okay, so then we have, I probably have to jump soon. I might have to hit pause on this. One sec. Okay, sorry. Let's see, where was I? Yeah, so again, this is a cool way to display work. Kind of weird you can't, I mean, this is like they're showing their work, but you can't click into it to see it. It's just kind of interesting. I want to learn more, but I can't. But it's still cool. I like this. They kind of, one's going up, one's going down. I'm not a fan of how much text is being used here for a testimonial. That may be just they don't have any control over how long people leave their review, but I don't think anyone's actually reading this at all. I think someone might read something like this, maybe something like this, but when you start to get into this much words, there's no way they're reading it, and it's just it's too much. The text is too small, and I don't want to have to squint to see this person. This is pretty, this is cool, and this is cool, and then this sort of falls down. But it's a cool design. This doesn't apply to me. Yeah, nice FAQ. Overall, really like the site. Very good job. Thumbs up. Yeah, okay, so this site, this was like the weird kind of funky type iconography thing, I remember. Yeah, I think this is good. I'm on board, Paul. I think this is really cool. These are, again, super custom and unique and feel very bespoke and made to order and not like off the shelf iconography. And I think it's cool that it all ties back into their design language. Like, am I a fan of whatever typography this is? No, it kind of makes me creeped out a little bit. I feel, Paul, as you once said, a little creepy. And it just is, ugh, it just doesn't, but, to be fair, everyone likes different things. So some people might absolutely love this. And so let's assume they do. I think this is a very cool way to bring it all together. The sort of square that's popping up right now, I wish they would have rounded the corners a little bit, but it's not horrible. It's just annoying that like what pops up, you can't see what you're actually clicking on. Like sometimes, like if you're like, oh, what word is this? UX and UI design. So maybe they should have moved it like over here if there was a pop-up so it doesn't cover the word, but whatever. It's a nice logo thing. I mean, we do something similar to that on our current site. Obviously not exactly like this. This probably looks a lot cleaner, but yeah, I'm only really just commenting on the iconography stuff. Super cool iconography, very cool. Love that. The rest of the site, not a huge fan. And then, okay, we got a couple more. I gotta be honest. I know you like this site, Paul, maybe the color palette. I'm not a huge fan of, I don't know. To me, this feels like a bank or something, like maybe a modern bank, right? Like one of those online banks. Blue and gray, it feels very like financy to me. So, uh, not the biggest fan. Maybe just the way they've designed it and just the vibes it's giving off. But setting that aside, I think I would say some of the other sites that I said I like better than this. I don't like that. Essentially, if this is like your hero section, it's just like basically a whole bunch of text and buttons before you even get into like any sort of image, where I kind of preferred that like text with like the image down below it, or like maybe the gradient one that was like wrapping the text. Like I'm not a huge fan of this particular layout. Um, this isn't terrible, but you know what? If I'm being completely honest with you, this feels very like safe, traditional. Like a lot of like it's sort of similar to like the Stripe website or the sites that I sent over to you. It doesn't feel futuristic. It doesn't feel all that modern. It feels just kind of like another standard, boring, safe site. There's nothing wrong with it, but I also don't think it is something that's memorable. I would not remember this. And I also don't think, like, if we say, look, what's our goal here? Like, to wow them, to connect with them, to make our brand leave a lasting impression, and then hopefully, like, be such a good site that it's like an award-winning site that you can also put on your website, Digital Butlers, as winning a whole bunch of awards. This ain't it. You know what I mean? Like, this is not winning awards. So probably going to pass on this. Does it have things that are legitimately things that I've said I like symmetry and alignment? Yes. Is the typography not bad? Yes. Are there things you can like? Yes. Is it safe? Absolutely. Is it boring? Definitely. So maybe not so much. And then I think this one you just wanted me to talk about gradient. Yeah, I mean, like, we're on board with the gradient thing. I think this is like a very lazy way to do it. I think some of the other sites that you showed me were cooler than this. Like, just throwing a giant bar at the top with weird gradient colors is kind of something I can do in Squarespace and Wix. I'm not looking for a site that it like just looks like it's off the shelf of a template. This kind of gives me those vibes. Just it's lazy, right? Like, anyone can do this. And if anyone can do this, then it's not really that special. That being said, I understand what you're saying, how they're like using the gradient in the buttons and they're kind of bringing it as like a design philosophy throughout the site. I'm surprised these things aren't lighting up, but it's fine. It's great. I don't have anything wrong with gradients. I like gradients. I don't think this is like some ultra amazing site, and the gradients here are like really representative of the best way to look at gradients. Some of the other sites that you included here were definitely better. So I think like you pretty much got my favorites. Probably this one. There were some things you could say about some sites. I'm just trying to remember. This one's great. This one's got some. This one's great. I mean, we have a lot of. And then, there's things that I liked about all of them for the most part. There were some thumbs down for sure, but I think this is like super on point and a much better representation of what we want. So if you want me to mark it up, I can mark it up, but I think this loom is probably sufficient for feedback. Overall, great job. I feel really good about this current direction and this current example of sites, and I think you completely get what I'm trying to do. So thank you for the second pass on this. and let me know if you need anything else.